Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, and this time reviewing on Hollow Man. Now, as you know, Hollow Man is a 2000 science fiction horror film that was directed by Paul Verhoeven, known for making films like RoboCop, Total Recall, and Flesh and Blood. Now, pretty much, Hollow Man is a story that was inspired by H.G. Wells' story, The Invisible Man. And the premise of the story is about Sebastian Cain, who is an arrogant, selfish, immature biologist who pretty much discovers the serum to turn invisible, and at the same time is shown to let his ego and that get the better of him. And after lying and manipulating to get what he wants, he basically turns himself invisible, and we slowly see him becoming something just as worse. So at the same time, you are introduced to his co-workers. Linda, played by Elizabeth Sue, known for playing in Back to the Future 1 and 2, is meant to have been Sebastian's ex-girlfriend, and is clearly shown to, want to move on from Sebastian and be with her new partner, as well as co-worker Matthew. With Matthew, you can tell he's the opposite of Sebastian. He's more modest, kind, and more kind of less arrogant. You've also got Sarah, who's basically the veterinarian of the team, and you can tell that she clearly dislikes Sebastian, and Sebastian clearly dislikes her, so it's kind of like a Sailor Moon and Sailor Moon Mars relationship. And yeah, you've also got Carter, who, played by Greg Grunberg, who also played in shows like Ultimate Spider-Man, is meant to be the emergency medical technician. With Frank, who kind of looks like something from a 90s poster boy, is the laboratory technician. The same with Janice, who is basically the first character to get killed off. So what's interesting is that with Sebastian is that he quickly misuses his powers and is shown to abuse them to get what he wants. And he even lies to the Pentagon, which makes Linda and Matthew partly responsible, as they could have had a great opportunity to have stepped in and stopped this. But I get it, they didn't want Sebastian's dreams to be crushed, and I guess they did it because they probably wanted to see a bigger break for them. So what's interesting is that it's shown that in a way Sebastian becomes more deluded, more like he wants to basically use his gifts to get what he wants. And when Matthew does ask the question, did the serum make him screw him up, or was it his ego? I think the serum only boosted his ego and made him something just as worse. And I think there are people like Sebastian Cain who basically use, manipulate, lie, and cheat to get what they want. And what's interesting is that this is the director's cut. So there is another scene where he's perving on his neighbor and does something awful to her. In the non-director's cut, you don't see it, but I think it was probably for the best they left that out, because it was always meant to show or imply what he did. And what's interesting is that it's even implied that the serum that he's given makes him invulnerable to pain. For example, when he's electrocuted, get his head bashed in with a pipe, it's implied that he can't feel that pain, but only when he's being busted by flames and pretty much thrown into an explosion is when he's properly badly injured. And what's interesting as well is that, yeah, you can also tell that Sebastian's former mentor, Howard Kramer, is clearly annoyed, and if not, angry with Sebastian's results, and probably knows his deluded nature, but sees potential in him. So what's actually interesting is that, yeah, that the movie does show that Sebastian does all these things to himself and refuses to take any responsibility for them. And what's also interesting is that, yeah, they even did a direct-to-video standalone sequel, Hollow Man 2, in 2006. And it's one of those Paul Van Hoven movies that will get a sequel or a different direction. So I think Hollow Man is meant to show that there are some things man shouldn't be allowed to tamper with, and that sometimes, yeah, it's important to leave what God intended alone. So I think it deserves a thumbs up. It's still a good movie, still enjoyable, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.